Hi everybody. Sorry about the slide today. We thought we'll wait for some others. We had slightly over 10 participants registered, but I'm guessing that some of the others may have had some difficulties with the time zone. Welcome to our first Region 8 Educational Activities webinar. My name is Saurabh and I'm dialing in from Pretoria in South Africa. And this afternoon we are joined also by Niobe, Steve and Alex. Niobe is in Greece, and Steve and Alex are ITripleE staff members based in our head office in Piscataway. I will next ask Steve to provide a summary of key features of Blackboard, the tool we're using today, and we're thankful to IEEE Educational Activities Division for supporting us with this tool. Steve?
Thanks, Saurabh. Good morning, everyone. So just a few quick housekeeping notes about using the platform while we're in the webinar. In general, if you'd like to ask a question, you can use the chat window at the bottom left of the screen. There you can see a few messages that I've already posted to the group. Niobe has posted as well. If you need to get the attention of the room, you can raise your hand by clicking the button that's right under this the video window where you see my picture at the top left right now. I'm going to raise my hand just to show you how it works. Just kind of indicates to us that you're seeking our attention. Click it again to lower your hand. And then if you'd like to talk at some point, again, under that video window where you're seeing my picture right now, there's a talk button that turns on your microphone. We do ask you to leave your microphone off unless you are actually talking, or and it's always better if you're recognized by one of the moderators before you begin to talk. Too much audio from too many different sources can really cause bedlam. So at this point, I think I'm going to turn my microphone back off. Again, I'll remind you, please ask questions during the session under the chat window. Oh, and I forgot to mention, a copy of the slides that we're presenting today are accessible to you for download at the very top of this screen under the Window menu. If you go to Window, Show, and then choose Show File Transfer Library, you'll see a set of the PowerPoints there, and you can download them directly from there. But at this point, I'm going to turn off my microphone for a little while, and I think Saurabh has some introductory comments he'd like to make. Saurabh?
Right. Thank you, Steve. So during this first webinar, I think I'd like to introduce to you the structure of Region 8 technical activities, which comprises of various what we call standing committees. We have chapter coordination, conference coordination, educational activities, industry relations, and standards. Our focus today is on educational activities, where educational activities is chaired by Bakr Hassan from Saudi Arabia. I will, in educational activities in our region, just like the rest of IEEE, has three principal areas of operation. We have pre-university activities, university activities, and continuing education. We hope to have future webinars in which we will be presenting activities relating to pre-university and university activities, but our focus this afternoon is on continuing education, and I will hand over to Niobe to provide an overview of continuing education opportunities within IEEE. I've just noticed that Eva Long has just joined us, and Eva, you see Eva's image here, and Eva is our coordinator for pre-university. So with these words, I'll hand over to Niobe, and I've just moved over to her slides. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon to everybody from Greece. Yes, I'm responsible for the continuing education activities in Region 8, and we believe that this is a very important activity in Region 8, since the region is very diversified so many cultures, so many concepts about education, about profession. So probably through this activity we can come to an integrity on concepts, on practices in our professional life. It is just one slide because the activity is quite recent, 1 year only in the Educational Activities Board. But we have thought and we have done some things already. You can see that I'm responsible for this first year of the operation, and the first task we went through is to check if in every section, we have 50 plus sections in Region 8, if there is one responsible person for educational activities, even continuing education or professional or industrial activities, something which is after the university level. So we have prepared a web page. You can see the web page at the bottom of the slide. We created a forum, and in this forum we invited all the people, all the responsible people to participate and look for the information. Some of our chapters did not nominate a responsible person for continuing education or even for professional or industrial. Then we sent emails to the section chairs and invited them to nominate persons for these activities and create a group of people who are responsible for education, continuing education in Region 8. The second step that we went through is to establish very close relation with the central offices in ITripleE, with the Educational Activities Board, so we can have harmonized activities all over the world. And this webinar is exactly a result of these contacts and these discussions, and we can address to everybody on the continuing educational activities through ITripleE. I think a second idea that we were discussing in Region 8 is about the Technical English program, and I have seen in the batch of slides a few words. I think Steve will provide us more information later, because since it is a very big region, there is a need in some parts, in some sections for this, for language lessons, webinars, courses, while in other sections, of course, it is the native language and it is very well used. And of course, our primary activity will be the dissemination and the support of e-library services, which may be unknown to many sections in Region 8, or probably it is difficult to be affordable. We shall try to facilitate everything during this period of this year or the next year, always in contact with the central offices. Steve, we are looking for your help all the time. I think this is in a summary the activities and the profile of continuing education in Region 8, and I hope that after this first webinar we shall be in touch always, and we shall meet each other in another webinar or in other activities. Thank you very much for participating to the webinar, and I can pass the floor to Steve or to Sarah, to Steve, to continue with the courses. Steve.
Thank you, Niobe. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my my webcam as well, so you can look at my smiling face. Going in, I want to first of all thank everyone for joining us today, and again encourage you to ask questions during the session. One of the things that we've been doing here at the in educational activities at the IEEE Operations Center in New Jersey is we've been trying to build some low-cost tools that can be used by groups such as yourself in the regions and the sections, also at technical societies and the like, to publish and present a lot of educational material online. We know that some of the issues we've been struggling with here are those that you struggle with as well. So some of the tools that we've developed to help EA present educational training, we were able to create the infrastructure that allowed us to do it. At the same time, we felt that it made sense to just offer that same infrastructure to the rest of IEEE. So a few things we're going to talk about today. Our new English for Technical Professionals program. It's an online instruction program that's coming early in 2012. Continuing education units. It's the ability for all IEEE sponsored events to offer continuing education units, professional development hours, or even just a certificate of completion for participation. The webinar platform that we're using right now that we're making available for use by other IEEE organizations. The IEEE E-Learning Library, which is kind of the flagship product of educational activities, which are online tutorials presented through IEEE Explore that we develop in partnership a lot of times with IEEE organizations. So it's a way to get your message out to the world and even return some revenue to your organization. The IEEE E-Learning Outreach Program is the ability to take those e-learning library programs and build a local meeting around them so that you can have a facilitated version of a training program at your local event using our materials. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about the new IEEE iTunes University site and how you can use it to reach up to 200 million or more iTunes users. First, as we mentioned, our English for Technical Professionals program. It's going to be an online program that's coming in the first quarter of 2012. This program, we've partnered with Cambridge University Press to present these materials. And this is really an outgrowth of a live program that's been run for the last few years out of Educational Activities University programs, in which there's been a sort of a capstone event that came after the end of some local training that happened at universities or in individual areas. There was then a two-day immersive event where a technical session would be presented all in English. This is a little bit different take on that. This is actual instruction in the rules and grammar of English rather than an immersive event that happens online. When finished, it will be about 45 hours of online interactive instruction. As I mentioned, we are partnering with Cambridge University Press and using a lot of their materials to present this. And when it's live, IEEE members will receive a 70% discount over the non-member price. The key skills that are presented in this program are vocabulary development in technical English, listening and comprehension skills, writing for technical professionals, understanding technical publications in English, and communicating effectively both in writing and verbally in English, particularly around technical subjects and in technical areas. So I think it's going to be really, really valuable for people whose first language is not English but are working in the technical fields where, particularly in IEEE publications, that English being the sort of language of record, this is really going to help them develop their skills going forward. Another area that we're working with organizations around the world is in allowing them to offer continuing education units for their own training. Now, IEEE is an authorized provider of CEUs by the International Association for Continuing Education and Training, and this really just means that we have submitted our processes and procedures and our editorial materials to kind of another authority that kind of vets us a little bit. And we're extending this ability to allow you to offer CEUs for your live events or online events, so they can be awarded for education events, for training, or webinars from any IEEE organization. There is an application fee for each event, and then a fee for each person who receives CEUs. But in a lot of areas, CEUs are not so important, but what might be important is a certificate of completion. So those individual fees are waived if you don't actually need CEUs, because there's a little bit extra requirements for paperwork and record keeping and that sort of thing for CEUs. If you're just looking for PDHs, that is professional development hours, or just a certificate of completion with your course name on it that shows the IEEE logo and also has the individual learner's own name on it, then we don't charge those individual fees. I was hoping by now that Chris Salico, who's manager of our continuing education providers program, would have joined us, but I know he had a conflict that must have run a little bit long. But I can talk about this. Our continuing education providers program, and you'll see the web address here at cep.IEEE-elearning.org, is a program whereby our editorial board vets external partners who provide continuing education to the IEEE fields of interest, and they guarantee a member discount for IEEE folks, and that's a minimum 10% discount. There are more than 6,000 courses, certificate programs, and graduate degree programs that are part of this. And Chris Salico is joining us right now, but Chris can maybe address this a little bit as well in just a moment. But these programs are offered both for live instruction, for online events, as well as kind of the whole gamut. They're all cataloged there at cep.IEEE-elearning.org. As I said, the providers are approved by a volunteer editorial board. They go through kind of a rigorous process for checking. All of the providers award both continuing education units and professional development hours, and there are currently more than 50 providers, both live and online. Chris, I know you joined us in the middle there. Is there anything you'd like to add about the providers program, particularly maybe ways that individuals might be able to, or what maybe a little bit about the application process that people use? Okay, maybe not. Maybe I think Chris might still be getting set up. He can answer questions. Okay. Is that you, Chris?
Yeah, it's actually buffering, but can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. We hear you.
Okay. Sorry, it's taking its time loading. I'm sorry.
So Chris, what I was asking you, if you could talk a little bit about the application process for the providers program.
Sure. What we do is we have providers actually, there's an online application that they complete, and then our CPEC committee, they review these applications to see if they fit the criteria of IEEE's fields of interest. And if they don't know, if it's a provider from an area where we don't have a lot of knowledge on them, we have a program where we could bring them in as a one-year trial run, which was put in place last year, which actually works well. It allows them to come on board. We can get an idea of what their courses are all about, what they're all about as a company, and then basically they become a full provider after that point. However, the application works. It completes really a lot of questions, and I could send the link out to the group to look at. It's on the actual homepage. It's a well put together application. I think we're looking at ways that we're going to probably change it a little bit more to make some other questions be more relevant, but it tries to give us enough background. We ask for links to their courses so we can view them. And at the end of the day, if we feel that they can come on board and they're going to add quality where our members could actually go take courses, we'll add them on and then basically sign them up for a 2-year period at the end. And during that 2-year period, we ask them to report how many members sign up, get familiar with the program. We normally don't see much from a new provider within the first 6 months because they're getting familiar with the program itself and how it works. But in most cases, we'll see probably after that 6-month period, we'll start to see they'll have registrations where they'll then start revenue sharing back to us and give us reports on the members that have actually taken advantage of their courses. We do encourage the providers to come on board to offer a minimum of 10%. That's the requirement. But we do have certain providers that offer up to 30% off on the course price, which is a value. It's like we wish they would promote that a little bit more. And thanks to working with Steve, and we moved them over to the Moodle-based web portal, and it's a much better tool for the providers themselves because they can update their pages. And I think it helps the members go there looking for courses, I think, a little easier to find what they're looking for. I know one feature that we want to add, and we probably will at some point, is a database, a searchable database for them. It's just a matter of, that's kind of like the phase 2, because phase 1 of our new website was really last October. So we just really getting them all acclimated to the new system. And this year alone, we've seen more registrations, we've seen more interaction with our providers, and I believe it's a program that can only grow. It's just really, I think, the main thing for us is getting the word out to everybody about what the program does.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. So just moving on from the providers program, as I mentioned, one of the things that we make available to organizations within IEEE is this webinar platform that we're using today, and we're using a platform called Blackboard Collaborate. For those of you who might be in academia, you're probably familiar with the Blackboard Learning Management System. This is kind of an offshoot of that. It's a full audio-video chat application sharing webinar platform, which was formerly called Illuminate Live, if you're familiar with that. We're able to present live and record for later viewing. And if you also combine that capability with the learning management system that we're going to show you in a little while, you're able to offer it either for free or for sale, for members only, or for anyone. Again, using the learning management system, you can award continuing education units or just a certificate of completion for those who attend the webinar. And as I say, we're making it free for any IEEE organization to use. We basically needed the functionality for some things here in educational activities, but the sort of minimum buy-in was for more capability than we actually needed. So we're allowing that extra capacity to be used by other groups in IEEE. I'm going to mention right now this URL you're seeing at the top of the screen. You're going to see that on a lot of the pages, and I'm going to type it in here. It's info.IEEE-elearning.org. That's now a clickable link down in the chat window. It's a place where you can get a lot more information about the things we're talking about today, but also there's an online form you can use to request access to these tools, even if you just want to play around with them and experiment with them. But there's information there, and you're going to see that link on a lot of the screens that we're talking about. I'm going to take this opportunity. I've seen that there have been a couple of people who have joined us in the last few minutes. We are asking folks, if you have questions, to type them into the chat window. And there's also under the window, if you do window, file transfer window, you'll see that the slides that we're using today are available there for download. We will also be posting those slides on the sign-up page you used to sign up for this webinar. We'll also have a link to the recording for this webinar. So if you missed anything, if you joined us a little bit late, you'll be able to go back and see the recording and see all of it. Okay. Moving on. Oh, a quick screenshot of the webinar platform, but it's sort of superfluous because we're already in there. I just like this smiling picture of myself, so I included it here. Another area that we're making it easier and more readily possible for IEEE organizations to offer online education is the new IEEE Online Education Portal. It has the full features of the e-learning library learning management system. We in fact developed this platform for the IEEE e-learning library, which we're going to be talking about in a little while. It's fully integrated with IEEE Explore, with IEEE Shop, and with the IEEE iTunes University site, which means that you can control access with for members only. You can make it publicly available. You can even sell access to educational materials through this site. Different groups are using it for such things as volunteer training. MGA has recently launched their Center for Leadership Excellence using this platform with a lot of volunteer training there. You can, if you have local events with training materials, you can post that on there. You can sell material on it. You can host webinars directly out of it. That learning management system is the system by which you signed up for this webinar today. So those full features are available to you, including online discussion forums, the ability to bring in RSS feeds from different areas. It's a very robust tool. Chris mentioned the Moodle learning management system. Again, for those of you in academia, you may be familiar with the open source platform Moodle, which is a learning management system. It's been customized for use with IEEE, which means that users can log in with their IEEE web account, and it's really very integrated with IEEE systems. So I'll encourage you again to go to that info.IEEE-elearning.org site to learn more about the portal, to sign up for your own access to it for your use in building pages. I will say, one of the things about this is something that we're making the capabilities available to different IEEE organizations, but it's really on a self-service basis. We don't have a lot of staff support to help you actually build the pages and create materials for you. The onus is on the individual organizations to build out their pages and populate the content, but you'll find that it's a very intuitive interface. We provide a lot of training materials to help you learn about it, and of course we are here for sort of mentoring and support, but as I say, we can't actually do the build out for you. That's going to be on you. If you need an added level of support, we can also facilitate discussion with our vendor who will actually build pages for you, but obviously there would be a charge for that. Other than that, there is no charge for actually using the platform for IEEE organizations. So it's a pretty robust, valuable tool and a way to get your educational content out to your audience, and also a worldwide audience at fairly easily and fairly quickly. Just a quick list of some of the participating programs that are using the portal right now. I won't read through all of these. You can see there are a number of IEEE societies, the Standards Association. I mentioned the IEEE Center for Leadership Excellence, IEEE USA, a number of groups using the platform to manage webinars. It's something that's it's a pretty cool tool, and I encourage you to check it out. You've already seen it already if you used it to sign up for this webinar, but there are a lot of capabilities to explore. So I'll encourage you to go to that info.IEEE-elearning.org site to learn more about it. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, a lot of the capabilities that we've built that we're making available to IEEE organizations were originally created for the IEEE e-learning library. This is really sort of the flagship product of educational activities. Our tagline is, it's the premier online collection of short courses and conference workshops. They are online educational tutorials, usually in the hour to 2 hour range, but they feature pretty high-end production, professional audio, animation. They're peer-reviewed by our editorial board as well as outside experts. Many of the courses are technically sponsored by IEEE organizations with a revenue share back to those organizations. And that can include regions, it can include sections, although it's more typically the technical societies. We are part of the IEEE Explore Digital Library, and we're sold as both as a subscription product and as an individual product to members and non-members. Our subscribers are at major universities around the world, government agencies, and large companies as well. Well, small companies too, because we've made it possible for smaller companies to subscribe at fairly reasonable rates. We have subscribers and users from all around the world at every IEEE region, and we do offer a member discount on individual tutorials. It's 50% off the regular price for members. And that leads into my member benefits discussion. As I say, 50% discount for members. We've also tried to make this a member benefit in a number of other ways. We recently had a special where we offered 6,000 unemployed members the free tutorial of their choice. You know, the economic times are still difficult, as I'm sure you're all very aware. So we're hoping that these unemployed members can use some of the tutorials to enhance their employability. So we had a lot of folks take advantage of that offer, and we may be repeating it as well. We've also been working with MGA to offer first-year renewing members a package of 10 free tutorials. And I believe in the next year that's going to be extended to all renewing members. I think the first target to see if it was successful were those folks who were renewing for the first time. As you probably know, it's the first-year members who are our biggest drop-off in membership, so we really wanted to reward them for staying with IEEE. So there was a kind of a limited rollout. This is the second year we've done this, but next year when you renew or as part of your renewal offer, you'll be offered free access to some e-learning library tutorials. I'm not sure exactly what shape that program will have, but you'll see that in your renewal packets coming up next year, I think. I mentioned earlier the IEEE e-learning outreach program. This is the ability for you at your local meetings to present e-learning library tutorials. It's a good way to kind of build a meeting around them. You facilitate with your own content expert, so somebody there who knows something about the subject matter, who can answer questions of people and move things along and facilitate a room discussion. The attendees can earn both professional development hours or continuing education units, as well as get a personalized certificate of completion. And this is a service we offer free to IEEE organizations if you're accessing through the learning management system. There is a $99 US fee if you want us to deliver these tutorials on DVD. But I think if you have a halfway decent internet connection, it's just easier all around to do it online. We don't, there's a lot of, I know that $99 sounds like a lot just to burn the DVD, but there's a lot of administrative costs, and we don't really have administrative folks to do it. So we would just prefer if you did it online. Again, that same URL we gave you before that's in the chat window, the info.IEEElearning.org, is a place where you can request that. Take a look at the catalog for our e-learning library, and I'm going to give you that that URL in the chat window as well. Sorry, I'm typing. It's always hard to type and talk at the same time. That's just IEEE where you can see the entire catalog of courses and look for something that might work for your local meeting. We have a lot of things, obviously, that are on technical topics if you're having a local technical group get-together, but we also have a fair amount on sort of management, professional development. We have a large and growing library on professional ethics for engineers. So the sorts of things that can work with an audience of blended technical background. Okay. I mentioned briefly our iTunes University Beyond Campus program, which you'll see there's a redirect at itunes.IEEE-elearning.org. This is a neat program that we've started in the last few months. If you're not familiar with iTunes U, I kind of call it, it's sort of like YouTube for scholars. A lot of very prestigious universities and organizations are part of iTunes University. They include folks like MIT, like Stanford, the Smithsonian Institute, Cambridge University, Harvard, Oxford. It's a place where these universities offer sometimes video lectures, podcasts, that sort of thing. But we're able to offer video, we're able to offer podcasts, PDFs, ebooks. We can build for societies and other organizations their own homepage within the IEEE site where you can control the branding and the web links that are offered on the site. Now the catch here is that all content must be free and publicly available. It can't be member only. It's not saleable. This is a free service offered to us by Apple, so they're requesting that we also pass that along freely. There may be an opportunity in the future to allow us to control access for members only, or even to sell content through here, but we don't have that today. We're nearing the end of a new initiative for 2011 that's allowing us to do conversion costs for organizations to take your content, whether it's video, audio, PDF, whatever, and set up your iTunes University site at no charge to you. Access to the site is always going to be no charge, but getting your materials ready obviously sometimes requires some work on our part. For right now, in the next less than 2 months, we're able to cover those costs under a new initiative. So if you have materials that you would like to be part of iTunes University, and reach out to, there's actually no good estimate on how many iTunes subscribers there are, but it's certainly in the hundreds of millions. If you'd like to get your content out there with that audience, use that same info link to send me a message, or you can email me directly. My email is part of the presentation that you can download here. It's a really cool program. As I said, we've only sort of soft launched it right now. There's not a huge amount of content there, although we'll be launching several hundred new videos in the next few weeks. So with limited content, and we have not yet started promoting access to it, we are reaching about 4,000 individual visits every single week. So you can see that's a pretty significant outreach to groups. So if you'd like to get a broader audience for your content and reach some people who may not necessarily be IEEE members, who may not come to IEEE.org, this is a very valuable tool, and I'd encourage you to be part of it. Whether you get in under the new initiative or not, it's a very low-cost tool. So this is not going away when the new initiative expires. So by all means, if you have content that would be good for a broader audience, contact us and we'll help you get it out there. So that's kind of the end of my presentation here. I'm going to encourage you to join the discussion at our info.IEEE-elearning.org site. There are a lot of valuable resources on that site, information about the tools that are available to you, but also best practices for presenting online education, information about all the different programs we've discussed today, but also the opportunity for you to post questions there, have a community discussion about continuing education for your group, and just move the discussion from there. As I mentioned, this recording, we'll post a link to it on the sign-up page that you used to sign up for this webinar. We'll post the PowerPoint slides as well. We'll send out a notice to everybody when that's available, and that should actually be a little later today. But in the meantime, I want to thank you all for your attention and joining, and see whether there are any questions from the group. I saw earlier that there was a question about whether the training sessions were online or offline, and I think you saw from the presentation that it's a little bit of both. A lot of it is driven by the individual organizations, other than that, are there other questions from the group or things I didn't answer? I'm going to turn off my, am I going to turn off my microphone? Question from Carlo is, can the platform be used freely by IEEE chapters, for example, for broadcasting regional events? What about recorded events? Can the administrator record a webinar for offline viewing? And that's a good question, Carlo. Yes, absolutely. The tool is available for those kind of functions. Now, I will warn you, this, if you've ever tried to do a live broadcast where you're both combining people in the room with you with people online, that can be kind of challenging technically. You see that right now this is a very controlled environment. I'm wearing a full headset with a USB microphone, and even now sometimes the audio quality may not be the highest. I think earlier when we were hearing from Chris, who was using, I think, probably a little bit lower end headset, and Yovi as well, I think the audio was not quite as good. In an uncontrolled environment like a room with an audience, that problem is only going to get a little bit worse. So everybody's got to have to be microphoned. The questions from the audience will have to be microphoned. You can do the recording of the session as we're doing now and post that recording through the learning management system or in other places, but you just have to accept that there are going to be some limitations. I would recommend, if you want to post the recording, a good way to do that actually is to follow up and do a separate recording, either using the webinar platform or something like Camtasia, or even just a PowerPoint presentation with audio, and do that just to the computer, because you're going to get much better quality in terms of the audio and the slides as well. But you can certainly also use the learning management system to post that and control access to it. Okay. Other questions from the group? You're welcome, Carlo. All right. If there are no questions, I think I'll turn it back over to. Actually, I give a moment for Alex Torres, who works with me here in the New Jersey office, and Alex gets stuck with setting up a lot of these learning management systems sites for different groups. Alex, anything you want to add for our guests about using the learning management system or signing up before we turn it back over to Saurabh and Yovi?
Thanks, Steve. Just basically want to reiterate what Steve said. We'll be happy to set up the actual course pages for you and pretty much help you with getting stuff set up. But as far as actually managing and maintaining the actual learning management system, that is entirely up to you. We just, again, as Steve mentioned, we're not fully staffed to do that, but we can certainly point you in the right direction, and there's certainly a lot of support videos available on YouTube and such to learn this particular learning management system. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Alex. So at this point, I think I'll turn back over to Saurabh and Yovi. Any closing comments? Anything else we need to talk about?
Steve, thanks very much for the presentation, and thanks, Alex, as well. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for participating. And we hope to bring you some future webinars from pre-university, as well as Steve talked about the Technical English program, and we hope to have, there are two variants of the Technical English program, and one is an in-person version which is also offered by ITripleE Educational Activities, and we hope to have a discussion on that initiative somewhere in January next year. So with these words, I'll check with if Naomi wants to say anything, and if not, then I'd like to close off.
Thanks, Sarah. I would like to thank you all on my side, and Steve, thank you very much for this informative webinar. I think that we are working in this on the Technical English program. We would like to check any possibility to arrange something in person or online, and I believe that in December, in January, in February, probably we can have a webinar on it. It is very welcome. That was a very good point to start on continuing education, and probably if we all study the material, the slides, we can come back to you, Steve, with questions, details, and how we can proceed. So thank you very much. Nothing more to say.
Great. Well,
okay.
Thank you all. As I say, as I say, we will post the recording a little bit later today and send out notification as well. But thank you all for joining.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.